display here as well. It's also known as the fairy tale nursery. So on the walls you can see there's a procession of fairy tale characters. So it begins just by the window. You can see Cinderella trying on the glass slippers. And the man with the dragon is St. George, who killed the last dragon, and he's the patron saint of England. And a little further on there's a man with a donkey. This is the tale of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. And then just over here there's a man dressed in red holding a magic lamp. So it's the story of Aladdin and the genie. And just in the corner above the doors is Puss in Boots. As this is one that I only really knew from the film Shrek. But, the next one looks very similar to Rapunzel. It's actually called Marion. And on the wolf there's a little Red Riding Hood riding the wolf. And you can see the wolf pulls a carriage, and inside the carriage is Sleeping Beauty. So she's waking up after being kissed by the handsome prince. And then there's Robinson Crusoe down the end. And then the last one is just next to the window. It's a very difficult one to see. It's called The Invisible Prince. But if you look very carefully, you can see him. So you just follow the line coming off the bird's beak, and that's the start of his chin. And then it makes a sort of sideways profile, so the leaves make up the hair. So his chin's just resting on top of the bird's head.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. That's right. Is there anyone else that can't see it? Is struggling to see it? There's his chin, the nose and the forehead, and the leaves,
I know means I'm a joke.
the room. So the eldest was their daughter Margaret, and then there were 3 sons. There was John, Ninian and Colin. So the last 2 are very unusual names. They're Scottish names because the family came from the Isle of Bute in Scotland. So this was actually just their holiday home. So they'd only spend about 6 weeks of the year here. But yeah, their father was a very well-educated man, so he knew 19 different languages. And he wanted to raise his children the same, including his daughter. So he was a very strong advocate for women's education at the time. So by the time the children were about 10 years old, they could all speak English, French, Welsh, and Gaelic, the ancient language of Scotland, and also Latin as well. So they were very bright children. And as I said, they'd have their lessons here and they'd play here. But on a nice day, they could play outside in the grounds as well. And in the park next door, which is Bute Park, so it's named after the family. But at the time, that was their own private land, so they could ride their horses through there as well. So they had a very privileged life here. And although they'd only spend about 6 weeks of the year here, they had electric lights installed in the 1880s. It was one of the first houses in Britain to have electric lighting. And on each one there are silhouettes of children's nursery rhymes. So this is Hey Diddle Diddle, the Cat and the Fiddle, Little Boy Blue, and then Mary, Mary, quite contrary. And back over in the window here is Rubber Dub Dub, 3 men from the field. And yeah, they also had central heating installed in the 1870s. So just behind me, behind the chair, there's the grill where the heat would enter the room. So it still works today, so it's been modernised to run on gas instead of coal now. It's essentially the same heating system, so it's still ticking over after all this time. Yeah, just about the chimney piece as well. You can see there's this figure below blowing a sort of trumpet. There's the sort of gold trumpet, and it's from Chaucer's House of Fame, so the medieval writer Geoffrey Chaucer. And the figure with the trumpet, the gold trumpet is supposed to represent great fame, and the black trumpet is meant to represent sort of infamy or renown. So it's meant to be a sort of reminder to the children not to blow your own trumpet, not to boast or to brag, or else you'll end up like the lady above with donkey's ears, and you look like a fool. So it's quite an obscure reference. I don't know if the children would have picked up on that. But anyway, are there any questions on this room at all?
What's that? Sorry.
Oh, this?
No, the pipe.
Oh, I think that's just to do with the sort of plumbing and the heating system. I'm not really sure what it was for.
Yeah, what would be like giant's heads and pipes?
It's just meant to be Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's sort of quite a gruesome depiction of it. So this is after Jack has killed the giants, just the giants' heads decapitated.
And the devil there with the windows, the painted windows.
So I'm not sure which one that is. Mostly just know the ones that have been turned
Yeah.
into Disney films, really.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm not sure which one that is. A lot of them are much older tales, but
Yeah.
I thought Puss in Boots was made by Disney.
yeah, I thought that until I got my job here. So yeah, we'll make our way over to the banquet hall next. Just follow them.
Which way are you going?
So yeah, we're just going through here. You can come back and have a look at this room after the tour if you like, though. The oldest part of the house. But the room which we just passed in the hallway is the Hour of Room. It's called the Hour of Room. It's inspired by the Middle East and the Arabs. And as they go through 19 different languages, Arabic is one of them. But that is the room with the ladies with the tea and the coffee. And yeah, this is a banquet hall. So well, in the 1870s there were 7 bedrooms over 2 floors. So those were demolished, and they raised the ceiling and lowered the floor, and it was redesigned as a medieval banqueting room. So the decorations are about 150 years old, but the walls themselves are about 600 years old. And the room's all about history and heritage. So, this is Lord Luke's family tree, which he very proudly traced back to Robert Bruce, the King of Scotland. So down on the far end of the first angel, you'll see the main Bruce. But the main theme of the room is the story of the man on the horse above the fireplace. And this was Robert the Consul, who was the Earl of Gloucester and the Lord of Glamorgan. And it's his life story which you see painted onto the walls. And it tells the story of a civil war in the 12th century. And this war went on for 19 years. And it was war between 2 cousins, Stephen and Matilda, fighting. They did change sides several times throughout the war as well. But you also see this man imprisoned in the dungeon. So he was also called Robert, and he was the eldest son of William the Conqueror. But he never became king himself because he had 2 younger brothers, and each of them both stole the throne from him. And the second time around, they imprisoned Robert for the last 28 years of his life. And he spent the last 8 years of his life here at Cardiff Castle, which is where he died. So he lived well into his 80s, so he was probably quite well looked after. But he would have been imprisoned in the keep, so in the castle on the hill. That's where he would spend his final years. If you look over this way, you'll see there's a screen which is carved from walnut. Above the curtains is the minstrel's gallery, and this is where Lord Bute had the musicians to entertain the guests as they dined.